Hello there, Kieran from NGB here, and welcome to another episode of Something for the Weekend, a series showcasing short games that you can complete over the weekend. They say that life is all about perspective, and I don't know if they do say that, but it works as a tenuous link for these two games. The first game is a love story where you make things big, behave, and small, and in the other game you're dead. Spoiler alert. So strap yourselves in. Here's Something for the Weekend.
Can you smell that?
Oh, I smell it.
Now this takes me back. Welcome to the fair.
Not how I pictured it.
What did you imagine?
You saw my drawing, circus tents and stuff.
Well, a county fair is nothing like circus.
I know, but I don't know. I just kind of assumed.
Hold on, your parents never took you to the fair?
Maquette released on PS4, PS5 and PC in 2021, with follow-up releases on the Switch and Xbox consoles in 2023. Maquette follows the story of Kenzie, voiced by Bryce Dallas Howard, that lady from the Black Mirror episode where social media drove her to ruin a wedding, and Michael, voiced by Seth Gable, who is Bryce's actual husband IRL. Thank you, IMDb. The game is about Kenzie's relationship with Michael, from its fairy tale beginnings through to some of its rockier moments. The story itself is purely voice acted, with only the odd message appearing on in-game objects interspersed between your travels. Despite that, the characters feel alive and relatable, which is down to the great writing and acting. At its core, Maquette is a puzzle game centred in a scale-warping world that adapts and evolves with Kenzie and Michael's relationship. You have to use this scale mechanic to solve the game's puzzles. In the middle of the world is a tiny version of the level you're in, and over the walls of the world you're in is, you guessed it, a larger version. It's basically like when you look in a mirror that's reflecting itself over and over. When you pick up an item in the quote-unquote real world and drop it into the smaller version, it appears where you dropped it, in your world, but bigger. It's really quite cool. The puzzles themselves can be quite tricky, but they all work on this principle of messing with scale. There are extra bits dropped in as well to keep it fresh, but really it's a so-called walking sim intertwined with puzzles for a bit of extra fun. Maquette will only take you 4 to 5 hours at a steady pace, and less so if you're more attuned to puzzle solving. It can sometimes err on the side of frustrating if you're struggling to solve a puzzle, but that happens few and far between. Overall, Maquette tells a lovely little story and has a great premise for a puzzle game. It's one I highly recommend you should play.
You do know what the word secret means, right?
Oh, come on, you don't think anyone knows about this?
No, I put that little guardian owl in there.
Well, here I am again, Maurice Lupton, off for my morning walk. This must be the finest stretch of beach on the finest island the whole world over. For a little speck of land in the North Atlantic, it sure is a good un.
I Am Dead arose on PC and Switch back in 2020 with follow-up releases on PlayStation and Xbox consoles the year after. In I Am Dead, you play Maurice Lupton, the museum curator for the fictional island Shelmerston. Shelmerston is a quaint island that has its very own volcano, a volcano that is looking increasingly more active. As it turns out, the island is protected by a custodian, the soul of one of Shelmerston's previous inhabitants, and that custodian needs to take a rest because they're getting a bit tired. Enter Maurice because he's, dead. Maurice can't be the custodian himself due to a ghostly clause, so instead he looks for a suitable replacement with the spirit of his dog, Sparky, and he has to do so quickly lest the volcano goes pop-a-cat-a-petal on Shelmerston's ass. The souls of these candidates are hiding out in certain areas on the island. You need to visit each of these areas to find important items, which, in turn, makes the soul present itself so you can talk to them about becoming a custodian. Living characters in these areas regale you with tales and memories of these long-past characters, giving hints to items you need to find. What follows is a glorified game of that Finders Keepers shows what was on the telly when I was little. The game has a cool mechanic where you can inspect and look inside most of the in-game objects, and that's what you'll spend most of your time doing. You float around the levels picking up and looking for these objects. It's a nifty little feature and brings to light just how much detail is in this game. In fact, the entire game is filled with so much character. It looks lovely and the characters themselves stand out with beautifully written and voice acted dialogue. If you run through the main story, it's going to ask for 4 to 5 hours of your time. If you opt to look for the hidden Grenkins, these tiny creatures hiding objects denoted by silhouettes, which you absolutely should by the way, and you try to solve Mr. Whitstable's genuinely quite tricky riddles, you've got another 2 to 3 hours on top of that. But regardless of how you choose to play, it's an absolute pleasure to explore and live in the little worlds in I Am Dead.
Yeah, I should probably go and check on the museum, actually.
Thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy this, then please do all the things that I bang on about at the end of every video, liking it, leaving a comment, sharing it, and for now, and until next time, goodbye.